What if I told you? The person who triggers you most at work, your annoying neighbor, that family member who drives you insane. They're all doing you a massive favor, and you're about to hate me for saying that. But here's what's really happening. Every time someone pushes your buttons, every time you feel that surge of anger or frustration, your brain is getting a hit. A hit of what? Moral superiority. See? When someone triggers you, your brain immediately goes, I would never act like that. I'm better than this person. And that feels good. It feels so good that your subconscious mind actually seeks out things to be triggered by. Think about it. How many times have you replayed that conversation in your head? How many times have you told someone else about what they did to you? You're not trying to solve the problem. You're trying to feel that rush again. The rush of being right. But here's the part that's going to make you uncomfortable. Everything you've been told about toxic people and setting boundaries is keeping you weak. And the calmest, most successful people in the world? They know something you don't. Something that's the complete opposite of what everyone teaches. So if you're ready to stop being a victim of other people's behavior, if you're ready to become literally untriggerable, then you need to understand what I'm about to show you, because this changes everything. Let me ask you something. The last time someone really triggered you, what did you do? Did you call a friend? Did you vent to your partner? Did you replay the conversation over and over in your head? Of course you did. But why? Here's what your brain told you. I need to process this. I need to figure out how to deal with this person. But here's what was really happening. You were getting high. Every time you retell that story, every time you think about how wrong they were and how right you are, your brain releases a cocktail of chemicals that feels amazing. Dopamine, adrenaline, even a little bit of endorphins. It's the same neurochemical response you get from winning an argument, from being better than someone else. And here's the kicker. Your subconscious mind becomes addicted to this feeling. So it starts looking for more opportunities to be triggered. It starts scanning conversations for things to be offended by. It starts creating conflict where none existed. Think I'm wrong? Then explain this. Why do you follow people on social media who make you angry? Why do you read comments that you know will piss you off? Why do you keep having the same argument with the same person over and over again? It's not because you want to change them. It's because you want that hit, that sweet, sweet feeling of being morally superior. But here's what nobody tells you about this addiction. Every single time you get triggered, every time you blame someone else for your emotional state, you hand them your power. You literally give them control over your energy, your mood, your entire day. And the most successful people in the world, they figured out how to stop doing this. They discovered something that most people will never learn. Something that makes them literally immune to other people's behavior. So what is it? Here's what they discovered. You're not getting triggered by their behavior. You're getting triggered by your own unmet expectations. Let me explain. When someone cuts you off in traffic, they're not doing it to you. They don't even know you exist. But your brain creates a story. They should be more considerate. They should follow the rules. They should respect other drivers. The trigger isn't their driving. The trigger is the gap between what you expected and what actually happened. But here's where it gets really interesting. The things that trigger you most reveal the parts of yourself you haven't accepted yet. This is called projection, and it's happening all the time. The person who's too loud triggers you because you've suppressed your own voice. The person who's selfish triggers you because you don't allow yourself to prioritize your own needs. The person who's lazy triggers you because you're burning yourself out trying to prove your worth. Your triggers are literally a GPS to your own insecurities. They're showing you exactly what you need to heal, but instead of looking in the mirror, you're pointing fingers. And here's the crazy part. The people who never get triggered, they've done the inner work. They've integrated the parts of themselves they use to judge in others. They've stopped expecting the world to behave the way they think it should. Warren Buffett doesn't get triggered by bad investors. He was a bad investor once. Oprah doesn't get triggered by people seeking attention. She understands the need for validation. The Dalai Lama doesn't get triggered by angry people. He's been angry before. See the pattern? The moment you stop judging a trait in others is the moment you accept that trait exists in you too. And when you accept it, it loses its power to trigger you. But most people will never do this work. They'd rather stay triggered. They'd rather blame everyone else. They'd rather be right than be free. So here's the question. Which one are you going to choose? Because what I'm about to show you will completely change how you move through the world. But it requires you to give up being the victim. Are you ready for that? All right, here's what actually works. And I'm warning you, this is going to feel wrong at first, but stick with me. Step 1, the gratitude hack. The next time someone triggers you, I want you to say thank you, not out loud in your head. Thank you for showing me where I'm still not free. Thank you for revealing what I need to work on. Thank you for being my teacher. Your ego is going to hate this. Your ego wants to be right. It wants to be the victim. It wants to blame them. But your ego is what's keeping you trapped. See, when you get triggered, you have two choices. You can defend your ego, or you can free your soul. Most people choose ego every single time. That's why they stay stuck. Step 2, the ownership question. Instead of asking, why are they doing this to me? Ask, what part of me is this person reflecting back? This is the hardest part, because it requires radical honesty. That person who's too controlling, maybe you're controlling too, just in different ways. That person who's attention-seeking, maybe you seek attention too, just more subtly. That person who's ungrateful, maybe you take things for granted too. The traits that trigger you most are the traits you judge most harshly in yourself. They're the parts of your shadow you haven't integrated yet. Step 3, the power flip. Here's where it gets really powerful. Instead of trying to stop the trigger, use it as rocket fuel. Every trigger is data. Data about where you're not yet free. Data about what you need to heal. Data about how you can grow. So when someone triggers you, don't resist it. Feel it fully. Then ask, how is this making me stronger? Maybe that rude person is teaching you boundaries. Maybe that unreliable person is teaching you self-reliance. Maybe that critical person is teaching you self-acceptance. Every villain in your story is actually your greatest teacher, but only if you're willing to learn the lesson. And here's what happens when you master this. You become literally untriggerable, not because you suppress your emotions, but because you understand that everyone is just reflecting back parts of yourself. When someone's rude to you, you see their pain, not their attack. When someone's unreliable, you see their struggle, not their flaw. When someone's critical, you see their insecurity, not their judgment. You stop taking anything personally, because you realize it was never about you anyway. It was always about them. And now it's about your growth. So what happens when you actually do this? When you stop being a victim of other people's behavior, everything changes. And I mean everything. First, you get your energy back. You know how exhausted you feel after dealing with difficult people? That exhaustion disappears because you're no longer fighting reality. You're no longer trying to control things you can't control. You're no longer bleeding energy into pointless conflicts. Second, people start treating you differently. Here's why. When you stop reacting to people's behavior, they lose their power over you. And when they can't control your emotions, they actually start respecting you more. Think about the calmest person you know. How do people treat them? They don't try to push their buttons because there are no buttons to push. They don't start drama because drama doesn't stick to them. They don't waste their time with nonsense because nonsense bounces right off. Third, your relationships transform. The people who are triggering you either change their behavior around you or they naturally fade out of your life. It's like magic, but it's not magic, it's energy. When you stop feeding dysfunction, dysfunction starves. When you stop engaging with toxicity, toxicity moves on. When you stop playing the victim, drama finds someone else to play with. And here's the best part. This doesn't make you cold or uncaring. It makes you more compassionate. Because when you understand that everyone is fighting their own battles, when you realize that hurt people, you can respond with wisdom instead of reacting with emotion. You become the calm in other people's storms. You become the peace that others desperately need. You become the example of what's possible when someone chooses growth over grievance. But here's the thing. This only works if you actually do it. Most people will watch this video, nod their heads, and then go right back to being triggered by the same people tomorrow. Don't be most people. So here's my challenge to you. For the next 7 days, every time someone triggers you, say thank you and ask, what is this teaching me? Just 7 days, and watch what happens to your entire life. Because this is what separates people who control their reality from those who get controlled by it. This is what separates the 1% who are truly free from the 99% who are slaves to other people's behavior. Which one are you going to be? If this shifted something in you, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell, because we're just getting started. Smart, rich, free. That's not just a tagline, it's a way of life. And you just took the first step.